You might make it to 100, and then you're like, oh well, I saved and I got 3 million in the bank,
but I didn't do anything with my life. Good morning, guys. Today's video is going to be about our budget and how we budget and what we use and what we do and our routine and stuff. Our budgeting routine, I guess I should say. We did it last night. Rams and I are going to sit down and kind of talk to you guys about it. Later, we're going to go to my suegro's house. We haven't seen them in a couple of weeks because they were in Mexico. Let's sit down and gather all of my things and we can chat. Okay, so this is not gonna be super organized. This is just gonna be a very relaxed, chill, kind of like explanation of our personal kind of history with starting to budget and how we're budgeting now with like our new house and our new expenses and all of these things.
Back in the day, like in 2014, we would get our check and I would manage the money and I would just pay whatever bills would be due within the next few days. I really didn't track it. It was just kind of go with the flow. So I'd always look at the account and be like, oh, we're good, we have about 800, and then it would start dwindling down to like 500 and 400, and then I'd get to a point where I'd be like, hey, don't spend any more money, we gotta wait till next check. But it was just a ballpark in my head. It was never for sure. So now we've come a long way thanks to Lily, thanks to the budget mom too.
The budget mom?
For sure. I know there's the budget babe on TikTok. So all those people that help with manage your money is big time, because money, unfortunately, you have to be organized with it, or else it's going to cause you stress and it's going to cause fights, arguments.
Especially if you're
especially a couple, especially in a single family,
single income.
Then she's got to be like, hey, can I spend? I'm like, no, it's our money. So I see it as we're together. I'm definitely not like, oh, this is my money, I made the money, so you have to ask me for permission. Not at all. If anything, I she's a chef, a babysitter, a house cleaner. What else?
A teacher.
A teacher. So
a house manager.
So if we paid for those 5 services or those 5 careers, then she'd make more money than me.
So, and then a little bit of my experience, like when we first moved in together, when we first bought a house, we had never lived together before. So it was a little bit of an adjustment for us to figure out, how to be parents. Like Jet was like 5 months old. Our first baby was 5 months old. We had just moved in together. I had always worked. I had always had my own money. Before I had Jet, I had 4 credit cards, with a little bit on each one. I paid them all off before, because I was like, all right, I don't want Ramses to have to pay for all of these things. He started paying for my student loan, he started paying for my phone bill, so I wanted it to be the bare minimum so we could start off on a good foot, because I knew we wanted to, on the right foot. Because I knew that we wanted to move out, we wanted to get a place, so I didn't want us to have extra bills. So once we moved out, we didn't have communication. I didn't know when bills were due. I didn't know. So sometimes we'd argue about those things because things would come out and I'd spend money on something. Mind you, it wasn't anything crazy, but then he'd be like, oh, it's because this was going to come out. And I'm like, oh, well, I didn't know. We didn't have a calendar with our bills on it. The way that we were when we first moved in together to compared to now, 9 years later, is really, really different. He kind of started with me telling him, look, let's use the numbers app on our phones, on the laptop. It's like Excel, right? Mm-hmm. They already have templates on there that you can just start adding your stuff. So we made one template with every bill that we have. And then you also have to think about, okay, groceries, gas, all the things that are not a bill, but you're gonna have to spend money. So for us...
Okay, so as far as our weekly expenses, every time we get paid, this is what we plan for. We get paid bi-weekly. So we have our groceries that we budget $175 a week. So it's $300 for the 2 weeks. And then the kids' activities is $300. This is a miscellaneous account for them that we move. That way, if they need clothes, if we go to the movies, if
I need something for homeschool, if
anything related to homeschool or specific to them, that's where we go to that account. So our budget for gas is $160 every 2 weeks. The next one is eating out. That's $100 a week.
Honestly, we always go over a little bit on our eating out, but
To work in progress.
To work in progress.
Lily has $100 every 2 weeks, and then I have $100, and I use mine for my haircut and whatever little, if I want lunch 1 day a week, or whatever, or I can just save mine up. But we pull it out in cash.
Or sometimes, like when we're gonna get paid, we need something, or we know we want to buy something, so I just leave it in the account, and then when we do the budget and we look like, oh, okay, I used that, I bought that because I had my 100 or whatever. So that's kind of just our spending money, like 100 each. So we can save that, we can spend it, we can take it out cash, or we just leave it in the account and like use it from the account. After we started being a little bit more intentional, like both of us being on the same page of like when bills come out, how much money we have left over each check, like how much we should spend, what we want to keep in the account, as like a cushion, groceries, gas, like all the things that we need during the week, right, that you spend money on anyway. And then the third piece of that is we started doing sinking funds. So if you follow the budget mom, you know what sinking funds are, but it's basically everything that is going to come up throughout the year that you're going to spend money on, whether it's birthday, a holiday, any special occasion, Costco. We don't go to Costco every week, like we buy groceries every week, but we definitely go to Costco. So we have a Costco envelope. We have an envelope for
I don't think that would qualify as a sinking fund, though, the Costco. Something we budget for, but
well, exactly. Yeah, you're right, because there's stuff that's going to be used a few times throughout the year, like every couple months, and then there's things that happen once a year, like a birthday, and then there's things like Costco that happen every couple of months that we go and we want to set aside a little bit of money to use. So
I think for me that's been a major game changer in our budget. Planning for holidays, planning for birthdays, having a home maintenance, having an auto maintenance, all these things are inevitably going to happen for sure. The birthdays are going to happen, and instead of scrambling like we would in the past and just use our credit card to buy whatever gift for someone or for the party, now we have a plan that we pull out a little bit of money every check, between $20 to $40 every 2 weeks for that birthday for that person. Well, there's 5 of us, so we prioritize the 5 birthdays, and then we have special occasions, one for everybody else. But
Yeah.
that has changed because initially I remember when we made less money, we'd only put like $10 every 2 weeks, and that seemed like not much. However, if you do that for a whole year,
every check, yeah.
every check, 26 times 10, $260 for the next birthday, and that is a tremendous amount of help. So
Yeah.
if anything,
Ramses is gonna get maybe some pita chips. But to add on to that, also, let's say you spend more than $260, right? But at least you had $260, to help you out. If it was $300, hey, you only had to shell out $40, during that pay period.
So where to begin, right, with the budget? I think, unfortunately, you have to do the hard work in the beginning. I'm a firm believer in anything that you can't change anything until you track it. So that's where you have to start. You have to go back for maybe the last 2 months and write down, all right, this is what we spend on gas on average. This is what we spend on eating out on average. This is what we spent for this person's birthday on average. Be honest with yourself, because the more honest you are, the less you're gonna have to find the differences later. For example, if you say, oh, we spend like $600 a month on eating out, but you really spend $900,
You're always gonna fail, and it's gonna feel like you're failing and you're not, doing it right or whatever. So I think also, if it's not in your budget, like let's say you want to cut back on certain things, start small. Don't, Ramses had this issue where he'd be like, oh, we should only eat out once a week. We should only have $50. I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't happen. So, we have to find some sort of middle and just start there. And the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to spend a little more, like you usually spend a little more anyway, but at least you'll have a better idea of how much you actually spend.
Yeah, and like for example, for weekly groceries, it used to be about $25 for each of us. That's what we would budget for the week. And there's
Per person.
5 of us, yeah. So it'd be $125. However, now, today, December 9th, 2023, that $25 per person doesn't cut it. It's more like $40 a person. So that's why our budget for our groceries is $175 a week.
Yeah, I tried to keep it at 150 because I did go up the extra 25. I want to say like in 2021, 2022 for sure. I went up a little bit more. I usually do the ordering of the groceries. We kind of collaborate on meals and like what we have, and Rams is kind of like going through the fridge and the pantry and the deep freezer and let me know what we have and what we can make with what we have. And then we will, you know, add on anything that we want that maybe we don't have ingredients for. So then I'll order them, Ramses will pick them up, and then we kind of, you know, also do it together where we put stuff away and prep things and cook too. Ramses does a lot of the cooking when he's home.
Another tip that kind of helps us is pulling it out in cash. However, it doesn't always work that way, that, you know, you can pay in cash. Sometimes it is easier to have it digitally. Sometimes you want to order something online, so that can be a challenge as well. But overall, if you are able to pay with cash with everything, it's going to be a lot better, because it hurts more when you like have your envelope and you're like, oh, there goes my $100 bill, I'm gonna have to break it for, you know, whatever reason. It feels different versus just swiping the card, tapping the card.
Yeah, especially at first. I would highly suggest taking as much cash out as you can and not just leaving it in the checking account. Now we're at a point where we have a good balance where, you know, if we, for example, it's really close to Christmas, we have to get a couple of things, like, so we still have to buy those gifts, and we have a couple of things we want to buy each other. So we have money in our holiday envelope. So instead of taking the cash out, we're gonna order stuff online, or, you know, we don't know where we're going to buy if we're gonna go in store and be able to use the cash. So it's easier for us to just put the holiday money in there. That way we can just buy the things that we want to buy with the card or online, you know, through our phones on Amazon or whatever. So that's where I like to leave my $100, like my spending money, in the account, because that way I can just use it. I never like actually go to the store, so I know I am usually going to buy things online anyway. Sometimes Ramses takes his out, sometimes he doesn't, so it just depends. But yeah, definitely in the beginning, taking cash out definitely helps. We still take cash out for all of our sinking funds. We still have the Budget Mom envelopes. Like, they're heavy duty, guys. Like, they have not ripped or anything, and I've reused them so many times. They're all ugly. Like, on the front I like put stickers, so we have like an anniversary one,
and then the hole punches at the bottom too. So we used to put them in a kind of
book.
foldable book, so you could just flip right through them. That kind of helps too.
We have date night. We have our Costco envelope. We take out money for our landscaper. This is for, so these are all the birthday ones. So this is for my birthday, for Ramses' birthday, for Jet's birthday, for Charlotte's birthday, and for Mavis's birthday. We also have an emergency savings, and then we have the special occasions one. So those are all our sinking funds. Those are all funds that usually, except for like the Costco one and the special occasions. The Costco and the special occasions are periodically. And then we have a couple of other ones that I keep in here just because these are ones that we also use periodically. So really the Costco one and the special occasions one should go in here too. But we also have a car maintenance one, and then we have this health and beauty one, and then we have the household one. Your categories are going to depend solely on you and your situation, your family, how many kids you have, if you're married, if you're not. So for us, the car maintenance obviously is for like, or to get the car detailed, oil changes, or for tires, or a battery, or, you know, all those things. The home maintenance is more for like the air filters,
light bulbs,
batteries, anything pretty much you can get at Home Depot.
Just say Home Depot.
It just says it, yeah, it should just say Home Depot. And then the health and beauty is like for vitamins, for protein, pre-workout,
facials, massages.
And honestly, we use it as needed. Like if we need something, we're just gonna say, oh, you know what? Like Ramses is like, we're gonna need to get a new battery for the Durango soon, so let's put a little bit extra in there than we usually would, because we're gonna need to make that bigger purchase. So you just have to kind of check in with your budget, check in with your partner, and say like, hey, so what's going on? What this envelope? I'm putting this much in there. Is that enough? Are we gonna need more? This is how much we have right now. So you kind of have to go by trial and error, and it honestly isn't gonna be perfect every time, and that's okay. But it's gonna be better. I think you're gonna be just more aware of where your money is, and I know that seeing that checking account be low is a little triggering for some people. But, then you look at how much you actually have saved in all of your envelopes. So currently, right now, as of last paycheck, we accumulated all of the sinking funds, all of the envelopes, and we have a total of $3,675 that we've saved. And that's only been in the last couple of months, because when before we were moving, we were throwing all of our money. We weren't saving any money in our sinking funds. We were throwing all our money into our savings in preparation for the move, for moving expenses, moving costs, and all the things that we just didn't know how much it was going to cost. So we wanted to be prepared as much as we could, and we weren't taking out anything at all, and we were just throwing all that money to the house savings. That's all we had.
So this is from like
maybe
August, maybe September to now.
Yeah, it's just been a couple months.
But yeah, I can definitely say that's probably something that we're still working on. We've been doing this budget for at least 4 years, and that's something that I still struggle with. Like she mentioned, I have a lot of trauma related to money when I was little that now it's starting to come back. That dissociative amnesia is coming back, and I'm like, why do I have these feelings about money? I still deal with it today. Like she said, when I see that the bank account is under a certain amount, I'm like, oh crap, like, I start to feel a little anxious. So it definitely helps, walking in and pulling these out and being like, oh, they're all pretty much full of cash, and we have a plan for it.
Yeah, and at first I started this whole budgeting thing. I also followed Jordan Page and her funcheaporfree.com website and her YouTube videos. She has 8 kids, so she, has lots of advice on how to save money and, all that stuff. So Jordan Page and the Budget Mom were huge helps to me when I first started doing this. Now we've kind of just made it our own. And at first too, I would try to get him involved and say like, hey, check the budget, look at the budget. But now you're very on top of it. You check the budget on your own without me even telling you. So it's kind of funny how like now we have a little bit more organization, and we still fight a little bit here and there about spending and all those things, but
I definitely neglected the budget because number one, I work at a prison, so I don't have access to my phone and our shared spreadsheet that we have.
I found it just easier to be like, all right, I sat him down. I was like, all right, well, what bills are we paying? When are they due? How much are they? I got a calendar and I started. So just start there. Start with the calendar, writing down when everything is due, writing down when you get paid, seeing what paychecks you are paying what. After that, you can kind of see what you have left over and then go from there. So that's kind of just the basic idea to start.
Yeah, and the question might come up, well, on some times of the month we have to pay more, sometimes we pay less. So in that case, yeah, when you have less bills for that 2-week period or that 1-week period, you might have to roll over some of that money into the next check. So that's some advice right there.
Yeah, or something that we did too is pay things a little earlier. Like the Verizon bill, like our Verizon bill is due like at the end of the month, but we always pay it in the middle of the month. We've gotten used to it now, but at the time when we decided to do that, it was just because we had a lot of bills at the end of the month, and we would pay things a little earlier if we could, just so that we didn't have to pay all of that all at once, and we wouldn't have to worry about having money to roll over and then forgetting what we needed to roll over and then spending it, whatever. So we would pay things early if we could. Or also you can split things up. Like now that we moved into this house, we split up our mortgage. We pay half of our mortgage every 2 weeks. It's like our biggest bill is our mortgage, so we split that up.
So I guess for me, a key takeaway would be that this, budgeting is unfortunately essential. Definitely not taught in school how to balance a checkbook this is kind of what it is. I mean, it has that old school terminology, but now we have apps, we have people that dedicate their lives to the budgeting, and overall it's really to help you have less stress and help you plan ahead and be able to do everything you want on a fixed income that unfortunately most of us are on a fixed income.
Whatever your goals are, if you want to renovate your house, if you want to update your kitchen, if you want a new fridge, if you want, like, it starts out with, okay, well, which one do I want? How much is it? Okay, well, what can I afford to set aside? Because if you just throw all your money just into a savings account, you're saving for what? You're saving to travel, to go shopping, Christmas, birthdays, like all of that is in one pot. It can seem like it's not enough, you know? So splitting it up and having a goal for each one really puts it into perspective. And also all these things like don't happen as often, or if you shop too much, like if you're spending too much money shopping, you know, give yourself a goal like, you know what, I'm just gonna go shopping once a month, or I'm gonna go shopping every other month, and I'm gonna have this amount of money, I'm gonna set it aside every check. That way you don't feel guilty, because I feel like sometimes we spend money regardless, and then we feel guilty about it. So that's something that happens with us, is that, you know, we take out money, we work hard on doing our budget and like making sure we're organizing our money. And when we have that leftover money, sometimes, you know, I'm like, hey, let's go to the mall, or like, let's go, you know, do something fun. And he's like, oh, I just don't want to spend money. I'm like, that's what money's for, is to spend it. And if we're already, you know, saving money and we're paying all our bills, we're, you know, like, enjoy yourselves. Like, it's okay to enjoy yourself. And, you know, if you're doing X, Y, and Z to be on track, you're saving money and you're paying your bills, you know, like, whatever's left over, go spend it. You know, it's okay.
I agree with that, because there's got to be those small wins. I know for a time I subscribed to Dave Ramsey, and basically like, don't spend anything, you know, pay off your smallest bill, then once you're done paying that off, add it on to the next one, and it has this snowball effect, this snowball terminology that he coined. However, like, that's not realistic.
For everyone.
For everyone. You know, you might make it to 100, and then you're like, oh, well, I saved and I got, you know, 3 million in the bank.
But I didn't do anything with my life. That's true. That's true. We sold our house, like 2.5 years ago, almost coming up on 3 years ago. We paid off our car, we paid off all our debt. We just have Ramses student loans, and we've gotten into a little bit of credit card debt along the way again, and paid that off again, and you know, all that. So yeah, we're not gonna preach to you guys about don't get into debt, and I mean, y'all know that, you know. So once you know, have your sinking funds and what you want to take out for each envelope, obviously not everything's going to be an even number. Not everything's going to be in a perfect like scenario where you're going to get the exact amount of cash. If you go to the bank and you say, hey, I want $300, and then you want to divide up your $300 into five envelopes, and you only have 3 $100 bills. So you need to have some sort of like this from the Budget Mom. So these are like the little, these are Post-its. You can buy them on the Budget Mom. I'm like hardcore going for the Budget Mom right now. But,
me too.
Okay, so you need to kind of organize that into your categories, and then have your denominations on the side, and then you add up your denominations. You have the total count on the bottom, and then you have your total value on the bottom. And then that way, when you go to the bank, you can give them the slip with the quantity, the total value of what you want to take out. And then you can accurately put the amounts in the envelopes. So that's also a little key piece that we do when we do our budget. Now when we do the budget, we kind of just sit down, we look at our spreadsheet, and we see, all right, what's gonna come out? Do I need to pay anything? If there's anything on auto pay, do we need to adjust any of the cash envelopes?
Whose birthday is it this month?
Yeah, you kind of look at the next 2 weeks and see what's going on, and if you're gonna have to spend any money throughout that time. So we do that, and then we will do the cash envelope breakdown, do all the categories, do all of our amounts, and then we'll go to the bank and then we take the thing, and then we'll come back and stuff the envelope. But yeah, I think that's the gist of it all. Thank you for being a part of my video.
You're welcome. I'm happy to do it.
All right, I'm gonna go walk now.
I hope this video helps, and I hope you know, you don't take it like we're trying to tell you what to do. We're just kind of sharing what has helped us.
I just made myself probably my favorite thing to make myself.
Sesame seed New York bagel.
this, it's not sesame seed, it's an everything bagel from Costco with egg and cheese and turkey and mayonnaise and tomato. It's gonna be so good. Okay, Ramses took seated gymnastics, went to the bank, picked up the cash, picked up the groceries. We put the groceries away. I put Mavis down for a nap, and then she's up already. And then we put the groceries away really quick. He went back to pick her up. He should be on his way. And I'm about to put on some makeup, so let's do that. I haven't done like a makeup video in a while, so. All done. Let's go to Grandma's.
Yes.
All right, guys. See you guys tomorrow. For day, I don't even know.
10,000.
10,000.